Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Jennifer. I'm a teacher at English in the City, and I'm going to be doing tonight's focus activity. Tonight's focus activity is level 6 and 7. And in tonight's focus, we're going to be talking about making requests. Making a request is almost like asking a question or asking permission or asking someone to do something. Hi, Giovanni. Hi, how are you? Welcome, and thank you for joining the group this evening. Tonight's focus, activity 6-7, we're talking about making requests. When do you make requests, and why do you need to make requests? Hi, Andrea, how are you? It's good to hear from you again today. So tonight's focus activity, we are making requests. Let's pull up our activity here. Hi, Barbara, how are you? Good evening. Oh no, hi, Ranieri. You're not Barbara. Thank you for joining us again tonight. It's good to hear from everybody. As you join the group, please say hello so I know who is participating tonight. I hope everyone had a good afternoon. It was a little bit chilly, but the sun was shining and it wasn't such a bad day. Barbara is your wife. Okay. Thank you for filling that in for me. Thank you, Ranieri. My name is Jennifer. For those of you who don't know, tonight's focus activity, we are making requests. And in this activity, in addition to making requests, hello, Lucrezia. It's nice to hear from you this evening. Welcome. I hope you had a good day. We're going to be using modal verbs because we know that when we make requests, we use modal verbs. And when we use modal verbs to make requests, it's a way of being polite. Good evening, Pietro. Nice to hear from you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight's focus activity 6-7, we are making requests. And as I mentioned, we use modal verbs to make requests because it's a way of speaking that's more polite. Instead of telling somebody to do something or ordering someone to do something, there's a polite way of speaking. Okay, we have 3 different situations that we're going to consider. In making requests, you're at a friend's house and you want a glass of water. How can you request it? Or you'd like to open the window in a cafe and you want to make sure it won't bother the person sitting nearby. How can you ask if it's okay? Or you want to ask a salesperson for a shoe in your size. How do you ask? We see that these are 3 different situations. So 3 different opportunities to make a request. In one situation, you're with a friend. Hi, Terrence. Hi, Terrence. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. In one situation, you're with a friend. So it's an informal setting, but you still want to be polite. In a second situation, you're in a public place. So you're speaking to a stranger. So it's important that you are polite. In the third situation, you're in a shop and you're speaking with the shop assistant or a salesperson. So it's very important then that you're polite. We see that there are different situations that call for us to be more polite or more formal. 2 of these situations are if you're speaking with a stranger, someone you don't know. It could be another customer in a shop. It could be a person sitting in a restaurant. Or you can be speaking with a salesperson or your doctor or someone else in a public service position. Okay, So going through each of these situations, we want to consider how we're going to make the request. So you guys come to my house and you're thirsty and you want a glass of water. What do you say? Jennifer, get me a glass of water. Can't you see I'm thirsty? No, there's a nice way of asking. How would you ask me? Now, as you come up with answers to my questions, just type the answer in and put it in the conversation box, and then we'll go over the answers together. So you're with a friend and you want a glass of water. Do you get up and get the water without saying anything? Do you yell at your friend and say, "Get me a glass of water"? Or is there a polite way of making a request? Does anyone have any ideas? How would you ask your friend for a glass of water in their house? Because it could happen that you're visiting someone and you're hungry. You're visiting someone and you're thirsty. You're visiting someone and you need to use the bathroom. Even though it's your friend, you still ask permission to get water, to get something to eat, to use the bathroom. So if you're at a friend's house, how would you make a request for a glass of water? We want to consider the language that we're using. How do you ask for a glass of water? Or if you want to open the window in a cafe, or if you're sitting on a train and you want to open the window next to you and there's another passenger, do you just lean over and open the window and let all the wind blow in? Or do you ask them? How do you ask them? Thank you very much, Lucrezia. Can I have a glass of water, please? That's an excellent way of asking. And that's a request. You're requesting a glass of water. Thank you, Terrence. Can I have a glass of water? Now, everybody noticed the language that they've used. They used can. Can I have? Is there another way we could make a request for a glass of water? Very good, Pietro. Excellent. So if Pietro is in the cafe and there's another customer next to him, he says, "May I open the window?" Barbara says, "I'd like a glass of water." Yes, that's also a way of making a request. But if you want to make it a question, because "I'd like a glass of water," it's not a question. So you say to your friend, "Hi, friend, I'm thirsty. I'd like a glass of water." And they say, "Okay, so ask me, can I have a glass of water? May I open the window?" If you have a salesperson, you're with a salesperson, you're in a shop, and you want something in your size, or there's something you can't find. Hi, Carolina, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. We've just started. We're doing Focus 6-7, and this evening we're making requests, and we want to focus on the language we use to make requests. Let's take a look at the first situation. You're at a friend's house. Now, Lucrezia and Terrence both said, "Can I have a glass of water?" Here's another way of making a request for the same thing. Could I have a glass of water? Can I have is polite also. Could I have is a little bit more polite. Because remember, if we're talking about can and could, can also expresses capability. So many times in English, if you ask, "Can I?" the person will say, "Well, I don't know. Can you?" Could I have the shoes in my size, please? Excellent, Andrea. Thank you very much. That's the third situation that we see at the bottom. You wanted to ask a salesperson for a shoe in your size. And Andrea says, "Could I have the shoes in my size?" Going back to opening the window, here's another way of making a request. You lean over and you ask the person sitting next to you, "Do you mind if I open the window?" So asking for a glass of water, could I have? If you want to do something, you want to do an action, then you can ask, do you mind if I? Do you mind if I open the window? And if you're talking with a salesperson, could you check if you have this in a size 8 for me? So you can use could for could I do something? Could you do something for me? And also, do you mind if I do something? These are all different ways of making requests. Can anyone else think of a different situation where you might need to make a request? We said that you could be at a friend's house. You could be in a cafe. You could be in a shop. Are there any other places or any other situations where you might need to make a request? Think about things that you do every single day. For example, I made a request today. I went to the supermarket and I only had a few items. Could I have a coffee? Very good. Could I have a glass of beer? So here we are. Thank you very much, Barbara and Carolina. If you're in a situation where you're at a counter, you're at a cafe, but you're at a counter, then you can ask for a cup of coffee. Or if you're at a bar or a pub, even though it's an informal setting, you say, give me a beer. You say, oh, could I have a glass of beer, please? Could I use the toilet? Excellent, Lucrezia. That's another situation where you might need to make a request if you're somewhere and you need to use the toilet or the bathroom. As I was saying before, I was in the supermarket today and I only had a few items. And I saw that the person in front of me had a full trolley. They had a trolley filled with food. And I said, well, I only have like 3 things. So my request to the customer in front of me was what? Get out of my way. I only have bread, milk, and cheese. I said, would you mind if I went first? Because I only have 3 items, but you have a lot. Can I have an apple? Very good, Terrence. That's another way of making a request. So as I said in the supermarket today, I asked if I could jump the line. I said, do you mind if I go ahead of you? Because I have to go home. I have to do a lesson online and I didn't want to be late. And Barbara says, can I borrow your pen for a minute? Excellent. Maybe you're at the bank, at the post office, or you're having an English lesson and you don't have a pen. So you say, to the student next to you, can I borrow your pen, please? Very good. Can I borrow your pen? But I understood, Barbara. Very good. Let's go on to the next slide. Now, we've talked about different situations when we need to make requests. In a public place, in a cafe, in a restaurant, in a shop, at your friend's house, in school, at the supermarket. What language do we use when we make requests? Do we remember the words that we use? There were a couple of them. I'll give you a hint. The first one was can. Can I have? Another way of making a request, just the first word. So you want someone to do something for you, or you want permission to do something for yourself, or you need some information. What are the words that you use to ask for permission, to ask them to do something? May, very good. So Carolina, thank you very much. Carolina says, could I have, could you? Pietro, excellent. May I? Another one? Let's take a look here. We use modal verbs to make requests. Do we remember what our modal verbs are? There are specific modal verbs we use to make requests. There are other modal verbs, but not all of them are used to make a request. Could I? Can I or can you? So, could I have a cup of coffee, please? Can I use the bathroom? Can you find me the shoes in my size? These are different ways of making a request. Are these the only three? Could I? Can you? And Pietro says may I. May I is more for asking permission, but we can also use it. For example, in school, when we were younger, we were taught to ask, may I go to the bathroom? So asking with may I is more asking for permission. Whereas if you ask, could I, you're making a request to go. It's a small difference. For example, children will ask, may I? But if you're an adult speaking to another adult, you say, oh, could I? Can I? Would you mind? That was an answer. Would you mind? That's another way of making a request. Would you mind or would you please? Would you please make me a cup of coffee? Would you please find the shoes in my size? Or would you mind if I? So we have could I if you want to do something, can I? Can you if you want the other person to do something? Would you please if you want someone to do something for you? Would you mind if you're asking if you can do something? And there's another one. I don't know what the last one is. Could I, can you, would you please, would you mind if I? Can anyone think of any others? This is a tough one. I don't even remember this one. I don't remember this one. Does anyone have any ideas? Could I, can you, would you please, would you mind if? Pietro threw in may I if you're asking permission to do something. Let's take a look at the last one. Is it okay if? Is it okay if is very similar. Would you mind if I? Is it okay if I open the window? Is it okay? And the last one, could you please? Notice which modal verbs we use with I and you, and which modal verbs we only use with you. Because some modal verbs we can use with both people. Could I, could you? Can I, can you? Would you please, would you mind if I? Is it okay if I? So some phrases we can only use with I, and other phrases we can use for both. Here we have some other situations that we want to look at. We have 5, where's my hand? We have 5 phrases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want to change them into polite requests. So we understand that these requests are not polite. Bartender, I want a mojito. I know it is. It's actually the hour. It's happy hour. We should have some mojitos here. Okay. Being polite, we want to change the following into a polite request. Bartender, I want a mojito. How would you ask politely? Because this is not polite. If I were a bartender, I wouldn't give you a mojito. No. So you're at the bar. It's happy hour. You've had a long, stressful day, and you want a mojito. How do you ask? As you come up with your answers, just type them in the conversation box so we can take a look at what everybody is thinking. You're at the bar, you're at the pub, you're meeting your friends for a happy hour. It's been a long, stressful day. Quarantine is finished, and we're allowed to go out. Would you prepare me a mojito, please? Lucrezia, that's wonderful. Is it possible to have a mojito? Yes, Pietro, very good. Carolina, thank you. Oh, bartender, can you bring me a mojito? Okay, don't forget, it's always nice to use please at the end. Is it possible to have a mojito, please? Oh, bartender, can you bring me a mojito, please? Would you prepare me a mojito, please? And could I have a mojito, please? These are all ways of making polite requests, and it's even more polite when you tack please at the end. Could I have a mojito, please? Now here, the polite request just is, could I have a mojito? But it's a lot nicer if you have please at the end. Number 2, waitress, bring me a menu. I'm hungry, bring me a menu. So, happy hour is finished. You've decided to sit down and get something to eat with your friends, and you're starving. And the waitress is just walking around, not a care in the world. And you say, waitress, bring me a menu. How do you ask it? Very good, Pietro. Could you bring me a menu, please? That's a very beautiful request. Could you bring me a menu, please? Now, there are several ways of making requests. So could you bring me a menu? Would you bring me a menu? Please. These are all wonderful ways of making a request. Mom! Ooh, when they talk to me that way, it makes me so angry. Mom, I want a glass of water. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, what's for dinner? This is a difficult one. So, you're making a request to your mom. How do you talk to your mom? Do you have that face, that angry face? Mom! Or, Mom! And you're asking your mom for a glass of water because your mom is busy. Your mom has a lot of things to do. She doesn't have time to stop and give you glasses of water. Mom, could I have a glass of water, please? Beautiful. I wish my children would talk to me like that. Can I have a glass of water, please? Says Pietro. Thank you, Pietro and Carolina. Terrence says, Mom. That's not nice. That's not nice, Terrence. Can I have a glass of water? Could I have a glass of water, please? Beautiful. Number 4, I need to make a copy of this document. Now you're at work and there's a line for the copy machine, but your document is important. So that's okay, Terrence, because Terrence, if you use all capital letters, then it's like shouting at me. Because right now you're writing your conversation. So if you write mom in big letters, it's like mom. Like right now you just wrote sorry, but it's all capital letters. So it's like sorry. If you write it small, then it means you're talking quiet. Be nice to your mom. We need to make a copy of a document. So we're at that copy shop. I don't know what it's called. You go to a place and say, listen, I need copies, and I need copies now. Whatever it is you're doing, stop and make me some copies. Very good, Barbara. Beautiful. May I have a copy of this document, please? That's the way you make your request. Could I make a copy of this document? May I have a copy of this document? Would you make a copy of this document for me? These are all different ways of making a request. Thank you, Barbara. And Carolina says, can you make a copy of this document? Please. Very good, Carolina. Thank you. Repeat what you said. This is an excellent, excellent situation. You're in class with your English teacher, and your teacher is talking too quickly or too quietly, or maybe she says something that you didn't understand. What do you say? Jennifer, what are you saying? I can't understand you. Say it again. How do you make a request? How do you request that I say something again? So if I'm speaking too quickly, if I'm speaking too quietly, shh. Would you please repeat what you said? Beautiful, Andrea. That's how you request, especially if we're in class or having a lesson. Can you repeat what you said? Very good, Barbara. And Carolina says, sorry. Could you repeat what you said, please? These are all wonderful, wonderful requests. Very good, Lucrezia. Sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat, please? And this is a very, very helpful phrase, especially when we're learning a second language. When I was learning Italian, I had to learn this phrase in Italian because I did not understand anything. I was always asking people to repeat something so I could understand. It's very difficult. Would you mind repeating what you said? Now, look at all these polite requests we have here. Could I? Would you? Could I? Could I? Would you mind? Let's keep these modal phrases in mind as we keep going with our focus. Using modal verbs, how could you answer each of these requests? So, up until now, we have been making the request. Could I have a glass of water? Could I have a beer? Would you get me a cup of coffee? Could you repeat what you said? Mom, could I please have a glass of water, says Terrence. Mom, could I please have a glass of water? But now someone is making a request to you. What do you say? So someone says, hi, would you mind getting me a glass of water because I'm so thirsty? Here we have 6 requests. This time, though, we want to answer the request, okay? So I make a request to you, and then you answer me. And the answer is never no. But sometimes it is. But if it's no, it has to be a nice way to say hello, to say no. You can't just say no. What kind of question is that? Absolutely not. There's a nice way also of saying no, and we're going to see how. Request 1, could I come in? So we're in quarantine, and I'm knocking at your door. Hi, everybody. Could I come in? I haven't seen you in so long. Could I come in? Or you're in your house. Oh, yes, it's not a problem. Okay, very good. That's one way of answering the request. Let's take number 2. Is it okay if I keep my shoes on? So someone comes to your house and they're wearing their big, clunky mountain boots and they say, hi, is it okay if I keep my shoes on? Your house is so clean. My boots are so dirty. Can I keep them on and walk around your house? And you're like, well, I don't know about that. Your shoes are kind of dirty. How do you tell them no? You say, absolutely not. Yes, come in, friend. Thank you, Terrence. Very good. So someone's asking if they can come in. if they can come into your house. Or maybe you're in your house already and your brother or sister, your mom or dad says, hi, can I come in your bedroom? And you say, sure, come on in. Pietro says, no, it's better if your shoes stay out. Okay. Can I come in? Could I come in? Of course, make yourself at home. That's one way of saying yes. Pietro, very good. Is it okay if I keep my shoes on? No, it's not. No, it's not okay. But how do you say no? If you don't mind, it would be better if you took them off. Very good, Pietro. So you can say, no, it's better if your shoes stay outside. You can come in, but your shoes outside the door. Very good, Andrea. Sorry. Would you mind taking your shoes off, please? Very good. These are all very nice ways of saying no. Because if someone makes a polite request, sometimes the answer is no. You can't say yes if it's not okay. But there's a polite way of saying no. Please, can you put them out of the house? Your shoes are so dirty. Very good, Carolina. That's being honest, but it's a nice way of saying it. Please put your shoes outside. They're very dirty in my house. It's very clean. Oh, I just gave you the next answer. Would you mind if I used your bathroom? So now someone's in your house. Your friend is in your house, or your coworker has come to visit. And they ask if they could use the bathroom. You say, of course not. Oh, notice the answer is not no. Would you mind? So if someone asks you, this is also important too. Would you mind means, does it bother you? Is it okay? No. Would you mind is, does it bother you? That's why the answer is, of course not. If someone asks you, could I use your bathroom? You say, of course. Is it okay if I use your bathroom? Of course. Would you mind? When you say yes, you say, of course not. This is something important to remember. If someone asks you, would you mind? The yes is negative. Would you mind? Of course I wouldn't mind. Go ahead. The bathroom is right this way. So if you're saying no, would you mind if I kept my shoes on? Andrea, excellent. Andrea's saying no, but he says it so sweetly. Would you mind if I used your bathroom? I'm so sorry, but it's out of order. I'm waiting for the plumber. Excellent. Andrea said no, but he said it in such a nice way. Let's look at the next situation. Is it okay? Hey, what's the matter, Terrence? Are you angry? Why are you angry? Is it okay if I help myself to a glass of water? Terrence, are you angry? Are you angry with me? Oh my gosh. Are you angry because Andrea said you can't use the bathroom? So he said that if someone asks you, would you mind? Yes is negative. Would you mind? Of course not. Would you mind? If you're saying no, the answer is positive. Oh, you're not angry with me. Oh, thank goodness. I get it. You're not angry with me. You're angry with Andrea because Andrea said no bathroom. I know it's inconvenient. So remember, would you mind? Actually, I would mind because the bathroom doesn't work. I'm waiting for the plumber. Let's look at the next situation. Is it okay if I help myself to a glass of water? Now, in this situation, I'm not asking you to get me water. I'm asking if I can go into the kitchen and get myself some water. So is it okay? Is it okay if I go to the kitchen and get a glass out of the cupboard and get the water out of the fridge, pour myself a glass of water and drink it? The request is it okay? And we want to say yes. Is it okay if I help myself to a glass of water? You can say no. You can say, no, that's okay. I'll get it for you. But if I say yes, is it okay if I help myself to a glass of water? How would we answer this request? Or what else might people ask for in your house? Maybe if they're hungry. Would it be okay if I went into the kitchen and made myself a sandwich? Let's take a look. So if someone makes the request, is it okay if I get myself a glass of water? Then you can say, sure, the glasses are in the cupboard. Now look at the first request. Remember request number 1? Can I come in? Of course. Make yourself at home. Now I'm saying, come into my house. My house is your house. So just act like this is your house. So then you ask me, is it okay if I help myself to a glass of water? And you say, sure, the glasses are in the cupboard. Notice that this is like a sequence. This is a conversation we're having. Hi, can I come in? Of course, make yourself at home. Very good. Would you mind if I used your bathroom? Of course not, it's right this way. Is it okay if I get a glass of water? Sure, the glasses are in the cupboard. Could I have some ice for my drink? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Or, yes, it's in the freezer. Help yourself. So you've said yes to all of these requests, except for the request to keep on the shoes. The shoes, you said, no, the shoes have to stay outside. So the last situation is, would you hand me a coaster for my glass? What's a coaster? What is a coaster? And why do we use it? I have coasters in my house. I only have 5 because 1 is broken. Why do we use coasters? Does anyone know what a coaster is? They used to be more fashionable, especially if you have ice in your drink. It's a good idea to use a coaster. Does anyone know why? Very good, Andrea. It's like a plate you put under the glass. So a coaster can be plastic, a coaster can be wood. Sometimes the coasters are cork. You know, the tops in the wine, it's made out of that spongy material because when you have ice, see my glass, when you have ice in your glass, the glass gets all wet. So if you put a coaster underneath, it doesn't make a water circle on the table. And so it protects the tabletop. That's why we have coasters. So the person has gotten himself a glass of water. He has gotten himself some ice to put in his drink, and now he asks for a coaster. Yes, of course, here you are. This is our conversation. Someone has come into your house, and this is the conversation that you have with them because they're making requests while they are in your home. Let's take a look at the next slide. Is everybody okay? Being polite. We know that the modal verbs for making requests are can I, can you, could I, could you, would you mind if, would it be okay if. So now going through this conversation, we have blue and red. We want to fill in the blanks. So we want to fill in the blank with the proper modal verb. So the modal verbs are could, can, would. Could, can, and would. All right, let's take letter A. Letter A is the first sentence in our conversation. Excuse me. Help me. Help. Excuse me, help. We are asking someone for help. Which modal verb can we use in the blank? Excuse me, you help me, please. As you come up with the answers, just type them in and put them in the conversation box. Is everyone okay? You're all so quiet. Oh, here we are. Can you, could, and can. Thank you very much, Terrence. I'm glad you're not angry anymore. Thank you, Barbara, Lucrezia, and Carolina. We can use can or could. Now, sometimes there's more than one answer. Just because here we have could, it doesn't mean that can is incorrect. You can say, excuse me, can you help me, please? Excuse me, could you help me, please? Sure. What? What I do for you. What can, thank you very much. Thank you very much. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What could I do for you? In this sentence though, can sounds a little bit better. Could you help me, please? Can you help me, please? Sure. What can I do for you? Oh, I'm glad you're not angry, Terrence. Well, I saw the angry face before, and I was like, oh no, Terrence must be angry about something. Let's go on to the next one. Well, I'm looking for a street called Enzo Drive. The problem is, it's not on the tourist map. You happen to have a smartphone with GPS? Now it's a modal verb. So we know that a modal verb is not, do you have a smartphone? Do you happen to have a smartphone? We want to use a modal verb. Here, I think there's only one right answer. Which modal verb can you use to ask if the person has a smartphone? And the modal verb is not do. Do you have a smartphone? Of course I do. And? You happen to have a smartphone with GPS. Thank goodness smartphones have GPS. Very good. Thank you very much, Carolina. Would you happen to have a smartphone? As a matter of fact, I do. Would you happen to have a smartphone with GPS? The first time I came to Florence, I had a map. I had a map book about this big. You opened it up, it was maybe 50 pages of all the different neighborhoods in Florence. And that's how I learned how to get around. This was before GPS. There was no GPS. Very good. Would, and Terrence also says would. Would you happen to have a smartphone? Oh, sure. I can look it up for you. Oh dear, my battery's running low, but I have GPS in my car. You wait a few minutes. I'm parked right here. Here we want another modal verb, but I have GPS in my car. Well, I have to be careful nowadays if somebody says they're going to their car. Would you wait a few minutes? Wait, is that still no? Would you happen to have a smartphone? But I GPS in my car. Wait a few minutes. I'm parked right here. Could you wait a few minutes? Very good. Could or can. This is another situation where we can use either modal verb. We can use, can you wait a few minutes? Could you wait a few minutes? I'm parked right here, and I'll check the GPS in my car. Fantastic. Thank you, Barbara and Carolina. That would be great. You mind if I sat down while I waited? So here we need another modal verb to ask. The person says, oh gosh, while you go to your car and look at the GPS, I'm kind of tired. I'd like to sit down. You mind if I sat down while I waited? Very good. Thank you, Barbara. Would you mind if I sat down while I waited? Beautiful. This is a wonderful conversation. These two people are extremely polite. Now, remember that we use these modal verbs when we make requests because it's a good way to be polite. Thank you very much, Lucrezia. Would you mind if I sat down? And Terrence says, sorry, could you wait? Could you wait for me for a minute? Very good. That's very polite also. Why waited? That's an excellent question, Andrea. Andrea is asking a grammar question because the request is, would you mind if I sat down while I waited? Grammatically, why would we say that? Would you mind if I sat down while I wait? I think, honestly, this is my honest opinion. Grammatically, it could be either waited or wait. Because if it's present simple, would you mind if I, it's, you know why it's past? Because would you mind if I sat down while I wait? Would you mind if I sit down while I wait? It's waited because I sat. That's why. I'm going to check on that to make sure. But that's why I think. Because otherwise, would you mind right now if I sat down while I waited? Because sitting down while you wait, it's the... Andrea, you know when we use the while and the when, but both parts of the sentence have to be in the same tense. So while I was taking a shower, the phone rang, but they're both in the past. So if it's in the present simple, then while, two things are happening at the same time. So I sit while I wait. I sat while I waited. That's why. Ooh, what a great question. Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea. Andrea has made me think. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? I sit while I wait. I sat while I waited. That's why it's waited. Okay, here, we're going to practice being polite. So not in pairs, but with me. We're going to have dialogues about each of these situations, or as many as we can before the time runs out. Let's see. Use the bathroom. Let's start at the bottom. Because since we're all at home right now and we're very close, we're close with the people in our homes, or we're closer to our neighbors because now we hear them if they're upstairs or downstairs or next door. So I hear a lot of TVs now. I hear people talking when the windows are open if it's a warm afternoon. Look at the last situation, requesting your neighbor turn down their loud music. So since we're all in our houses right now and we can't go anywhere else, and you open up the windows because it's a beautiful afternoon and you're like, I can't go outside, but I just want to open up the windows and get some fresh air, and your neighbor is playing this horrible music and it's so loud. What do you say? Shut that music off. Oh, for crying out loud, it's too loud. Can't even hear myself think. So this is the situation. I'm your neighbor and I'm playing my music on my stereo really, really loud. And you say, oh, your music is too loud for me. Can anyone request that I turn down my music? How are you going to ask me to turn down my music? Shut that music off. That's too loud. That music is terrible. What are you going to ask me? Let's remember our modal verbs. Could, can, would. Would you mind? Would it be okay? So now I'm the neighbor that's playing very, very loud music. I'm playing, I don't know, heavy metal with a lot of guitars and screaming. Yeah. And it's really loud. Can you turn your very good, Terrence. Wonderful. Can you turn down your music, please? Wonderful. That's a wonderful request. Can you turn down your music, please? Can anyone give me would you turn off the sound, please? Oh, not turn it down. Thank you, Lucrezia. Lucrezia says, no, don't turn it down. Turn it off. At least Terrence says, could you turn it down? Lucrezia says, just shut it off. Just shut it off. Or would you mind? Can you please lower the music? Thank you very much, Carolina. Can you lower the volume? I mean, it's okay, but it's just really loud and I can't hear myself think. You're in a restaurant and it's a big restaurant. It's a fancy restaurant and you have no idea where the bathroom is. Who do you ask? Do you ask the people at the next table? Hey, where's the bathroom? Do you signal the waiter? Oh, excuse me. Do you get up and go home and use the bathroom and come back to the restaurant? So you're in a beautiful, elegant, fancy restaurant that's huge. You have no idea where the bathroom is. You're asking to use the bathroom. Thank you, Barbara. Can you turn off the music because I can't sleep? So Barbara and Lucrezia don't want me to turn it down. They want me to turn it off. They're like, just turn it off. Right now we're in a restaurant. We're in a restaurant with our friends. Very big, fancy restaurant. But we can't find the bathroom. We don't know where the bathroom is. How do we ask to use the bathroom? How would you ask to use the bathroom? Or sometimes you have to use the bathroom if you're not a customer. Has that ever happened? Maybe you're walking by a cafe or a bar and you're like, oh, listen, I know that I'm not a customer, but I really need to use the bathroom. How do you ask to use the bathroom in a restaurant? Let's remember our modal verbs. Can, could, would. Could you tell me where the bathroom is? Very good, Barbara. And Lucrezia adds, sorry, could you show me where the bathroom is? Is comes after the bathroom because otherwise it's the question. Could you show me where the bathroom is? If you take away, could you show me where is the bathroom? Where is the bathroom is the question. Where is the bathroom? But if you want someone to show you, then you have to move the verb to be. It says, could you show me where the bathroom is? Very good, Barbara. Could you show me where the bathroom is? Oh. Carolina, thank you very much. Says, can you tell me the way to the bathroom? Please, can you tell me the way to the bathroom? Okay, we're asking directions. We're in a city that we've never been in before. Maybe we're visiting a city for the day and we need to find a cash point. We want to know where the nearest cash point is, which is a bank. So we want directions. We're requesting directions to the bank. Let's not forget, please, and our modal verbs. Could you, can you, would you, can I, could I, would you mind, would you please? Asking directions to the nearest bank. How would you make this request? How would you make this polite request? Because I get lost a lot. I get lost everywhere. Everywhere I go, I get lost. I have to ask someone for directions. I'm one of those people, I have no problem asking for directions. I ask for directions everywhere I go. Because I have a terrible, terrible sense of direction. I get lost all the time. I'm one of those people, I always lose my car. When I park my car in a big parking lot, I always lose it. It takes me forever to find it. Okay, so we need directions to the nearest bank. How do we make this request? This is our last request of the focus. Excuse me. Oh, wait a minute. Terrence says, where is the bathroom? I'm looking for the toilet 10 minutes. Terrence, you shouldn't look for the toilet for 10 minutes. Just ask. Just ask. Don't look for the toilet after 10 minutes. Catalina, thank you very much, says, excuse me, could you tell me the way to the nearest bank? Remember, if we want to go somewhere, we go to the nearest bank. Could you tell me the way to the nearest bank? Or, would you know where the nearest bank is? That's another way that we can make a request for directions. Should we do one more? Okay, let's see. We're ordering a coffee in a cafe. I miss going to the cafe because they make coffee so much better than mine. There's just something about drinking coffee in a cafe that's not like drinking coffee at home. I can't wait till I can go back to a cafe and have a coffee. That'll be a good day. So we walk into a cafe and we order a coffee. What do we say to the bartender? Get me a cup of coffee. I haven't had a cup of coffee yet today. Yeah, I see we're all in agreement. Oh, it's going to be a wonderful day when we go to the cafe. I'll even get 2 coffees. In fact, maybe I'll even get a pastry. Barbara's still looking for the bank. Thank you, Barbara. I don't have money. Where is the nearest bank? Very good, Barbara. This conversation is amusing. Thank you, Andrea. I'm sorry. Could I have an espresso, please? Yes, of course you can. Of course you can have an espresso. Does anybody else want to request a coffee? Would you please make me a cup of coffee? Could I please have a cup of coffee? Would you mind? Would you mind making me a cup of coffee? Could you bring me a coffee, please? Beautiful. That's a wonderful request. Yes, I will bring you a coffee as soon as possible. Of course, you can have an espresso. And Barbara, we're all in the cafe, but Barbara is still looking for a bank. That's okay, Barbara. I will pay for the coffee. I will pay for the coffee for you. Okay, listen, everybody. We've come to the end of our focus. Focus 6-7. Tonight, we were making requests. Do we remember? Do you remember how we make requests? What's the language we use to make requests? We use our modal verbs to make requests. Remember, can I, can you, could I, could you? Here's our modal verbs. And these are the different ways for making requests. Would you please? Would you mind if I? Is it okay if? Could you please? Can I have a free coffee? Terrence, I'll pay. I'll pay for the coffee. It's okay. Coffee is on me today. We've spent so many days inside. It's a beautiful day. We're going to the cafe. Coffee is on me. Okay. So no, you can't have a free coffee. I will pay for you. So keep in mind our modal verbs when we're making requests. And at the end of a request, what word do you tack on at the end? Please. Could I have a cup of coffee, please? Would you make me a cup of coffee, please? Is it okay if I have a cup of coffee, please? Of course I'll pay. Listen, does anyone else have any questions about making a request, a grammar question, or anything else? Because we've come to the end of our focus. I hope everyone had a good time. It was very nice spending this hour with you. And tomorrow, I believe there is another focus tomorrow in this level. Let's take a look. Tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys. Jennifer, you have just one. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'll see you next time. Okay, if no one has any questions, thank you so much for joining the group tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Okay, have a good night, everybody. Bye.